to another RecLand Realty podcast. This is a land review of 408 acres in Tensas Parish, Louisiana. This property is actually a little over 800 acres total, but I'll explain that as we go in just a second. I actually have this property listed. I know the property extremely well. I helped the current owner buy it several years ago. Now I'm helping him sell it. He's already sold part of it. There's about a little over 800 acres of it left with a large camp. So let's get into it and I'll show you what we're talking about here. First of all, I'm going to take you to an aerial map. And those of you that are watching video, you'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing here on my desktop. You'll be able to see every map, every click, every picture of what I'm doing, so you can follow along that way if you're watching video. Look at where it is. Of course, Tensas Parish, Louisiana is real strong when it comes to whitetails here in northeast Louisiana, but this tract is in one of the best footprints in our state. You've got the Tensas National Wildlife Refuge, almost 90,000 acres right there. Got the Tensas River that winds its way along, including right there on just above the north edge of the property. The Big Lake WMA, about 19,000 acres, is right here, right up the highway, 2 miles. The property itself that we're talking about actually joins the entire east boundary is the Buckhorn WMA, about 11,000 acres right here. So that's state and federal land, as well as all of the countless blocks of woods and private ownership around here that just contributes to the habitat, and then all of this ag ground here, all this cropland. So those of you that don't know much about Tensas Parish, Louisiana, just let me say it's full of deer and a lot of big ones, and there's no exception on this property either. I've seen big deer on it myself, so it is what it is. This tract is a little over 800 acres total, plus the lodge, and I'll get back to that in just a second. Here we go. The lodge is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,500 square foot building. It's about 15 years old. It's a great building. It's got a great big kitchen. It's got a big laundry room, got a big mud room. One of the 5 bedrooms is a large bunk room. Could sleep, 10 people in itself. And then the other bedrooms are smaller bedrooms that all have queen-size beds in them. 3 full baths, large bathrooms. There's a barn back here for storage, as well as a closed-in part of the barn that has a walk-in cooler. It's got a large commercial sink, running water. It's got, pulleys and scales to weigh deer, clean ducks in there to get out of the weather. It's completely turnkey operation, ready to go, simple, really enjoyable, comfortable, and can hold a lot of people, whether it's you and a buddy that go in and get this thing and your 2 families share it, or it's something you want to get and bring clients. It will accommodate the crowds. I can assure you of that. There's also a 10-acre stocked bass lake on this property. I have caught hundreds of fish out of it, brim as well as bass. And the way they manage the bass, they manage them very well. Everything 2 pounds and under they keep, and everything over 2 pounds they throw back. So we've thrown back a lot of 4, 5, 6, 7 pounders over the last few years, and it's fun catching those big suckers and look at them for a minute, then ease them back in the water and let them keep growing. And so you can catch as many bass, smaller bass and brim as you want, and can stand to clean to eat. The bigger bass get thrown back. There is an electric well right here that helps regulate the water levels as needed. They have a biologist that comes every month in the summer to check the water and to kind of maintain the proper status of all of the elements needed to maintain a good bass lake. It's just a real cool place, and it's right here across from the camp. Take a note. You'll see in the pictures here, if you're watching the video, that there are 2 other camps right here on this property as well. This property used to be 1,600 acres. I personally sold about 600 acres on the west side to these guys, and they built a camp. And then I sold about 200 acres on the east side to this guy, and he built a camp. And they all have their own lot here that they built their camp on. Everybody here has common ownership in the 10-acre lake. And then, of course, everybody just owns and hunts their own piece of property. There's no common hunting area. Everybody owns their camp privately, their hunting ground privately. The only thing they share is the access road, the well as needed, and the lake. And they split the cost of the, paying the biologist, and split the cost of any electricity used to run this submersible pump here as needed. So it's a great little setup. Good neighbors, extremely management conscious people. They don't kill many deer at all. And the ones they do kill, the bucks they try to kill, are all mature deer, 4.5, 5.5 and up is what they try to do. And then try to shoot as many does as the biologist encourages them to shoot through the DMAP program. This particular property, the seller will do it two ways. Listen real close. He'll sell you 408 acres and the camp and ownership in the lake, or he'll sell you 396 acres without the camp, but you'll get this lot right here, this 1.97 acre lot that you can put your own camp on, or just a small mobile home, or even just a place to park your trailers and unload your ATVs if that's all you need. So you can do it two ways: 400 odd acres and the big ready to go 5-bedroom lodge, or 396 acres, a small lot with electricity there and water available at the highway. Both of those tracts come with ownership, 25% ownership in the Bass Lake, and you're ready to go hunting some great bottomland country in Tensas Parish, Louisiana. The land itself is in WRP. Now it's established, it's degraded wetlands, meaning established, hardwood WRP. It wasn't planted. It was already existing hardwood bottomland that they just put in the WRP program. There are no ongoing payments to the landowner with WRP, as many of you know. There's no obligation to you either. You're not having to spend any money. The main thing with WRP nowadays, you just can't go in there and clear it up. You can't go put it back into farm ground. You can't go in there and clear cut it, and you can't graze cattle on it. So, you're not going to be doing that anyway on this tract. But that's the main thing with the WRP. So you got two choices. You can buy 400 acres in the lodge, or you can buy 396 acres and a lot, and both of them come with the ownership in that 10-acre Bass Lake. If you go to the website, RecLand.net, land for sale page, you're going to see two different listings there: 408 acres, Tensas, and 396 acres, Tensas. That is that 800 odd acres that we're talking about here. So whether you want the lodge or not, you kind of have some options. As you click through any of the images, you're going to see pictures of inside of the camp. It's really nice, but it's not over the top stupid nice. There's not a lot of stuff in there that just drives the cost up that regular folks just don't want, but it is extremely comfortable. It's going to come furnished as well. Everything's going to stay, with the exception of a few little personal items. But all of the furniture, the appliances, heck, the electronics, all that's going to stay. You'll basically be ready to go. As I click through it some more, you're going to see that the track is just bottomland hardwood. There are lots of deer stands already in place, lots of food plots on this property, a lot of small, irregular shaped food plots. Most of the people that have owned this property in the past have bow hunted it almost exclusively, including the current owner. They bow hunt it almost exclusively, not completely. They gun hunt just a little bit later in the year when they're trying to kill some does, or they bring a guest. But most of the hunting is bow hunting on it only. That's why you have all those small, irregular shaped food plots. But there are, I don't know if there's 10 or 18 box stands on it. There are a lot, and I know where most of them are. I've just never counted them. But there are box stands already on the place, ready to go. Some ladder stands, as well as some tripods. So it's kind of turnkey. The 408-acre tract is going to have a little bit of something extra that the 396-acre tract doesn't have. And I'm going to show you what it is. Let me flip back to a picture here for those of you that are following the video version of this. But there's a flooded slough. I have stood in this flooded slough and killed mallards and wood ducks. You go in there early, you kill 3 woody drakes, bang, 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 as fast as you can. That's the limit here, 3. And I try to just kill the drakes only. You can kill hens if you want to. They're legal, but I try to shoot the drakes. And then you just wait a little while, and you'll start having some mallards working, and you can get them to work into this slough. And there's nothing more enjoyable than standing in knee-deep water around these big oak trees and shooting mallards at the end of your gun barrel. So that slough, if you look real closely at the map, you're following the map, circles around the edge of this 40-acre field. Now, this 40-acre field is not in the WRP program. You can do whatever you want to with it. In fact, it's planted in trees. You can see the strips here. The previous owners planted some trees and then let it grow up, but did it very precisely and left all of these strips clear for shooting lanes for deer stands. So this 40-acre field, you can do whatever you want to. You can plant it. You can plant it for doves. You can maintain it so that you can get some turkeys on the property. I wouldn't call this a great turkey tract simply because of the habitat, but I have seen turkeys on it personally, with my own eyes, a number of times. And if this 40-acre field were properly maintained, you probably could keep turkeys on it over the long term. So, but that's my opinion. But what is a fact is that you can kill greenheads and, of course, all the woodies you want in this slough, this flooded slough around the edge of this field. It's going to flood naturally in the winter when we get, just the usual rain. It's going to flood up to, like I say, 18 inches to knee deep, and it's just ideal to go in there and have a good duck shoot a couple times a week. You can't go in there every day. You'll blow them out. But a couple times a week, later in the winter, and the later it gets, the better, you're going to have some fun. The reason you're always going to kill ducks here is because this 800 acres up here on the north end of this property is all planted WRP with 4 large shallow water areas that hold about 200 acres of sheet water altogether. When it's flooded, it just holds a ton of birds, and those birds are always trying to work their way into this flooded slough around this field here. So anyway, the 400-acre tract is going to be great deer hunting. It's going to be above average flooded timber duck hunting, and you're going to have that large camp. People have asked about bears and hogs. Yeah, you're going to see some bears a little bit, not near as many down here as you would up here about 20 miles north, up the north end of the Tensas Refuge. But there are bears on the property. There's bears in the area. So, if you feed corn, you're going to have bear problems. But you'll see some occasionally, not nearly as much as you will in other places. Hogs, not yet is the way I like to say it. I have never seen a hog on the property. I have had game camera pictures of one hog, big bore hog, one time. I guess he was just moving through trying to find some loving. I don't know. But I've never seen a hog, but I have had one game camera picture one time. How do I know this property? Like I said, I helped the current owner, buy it several years ago. I actually bow hunted it that first year that he owned it. I bow hunted it hard. All I did was shoot some does, shot 3 does. So I know the property extremely well. I know all the little nooks and crannies. It's covered with little small trails to get around the tract. It is just cool property as you've ever seen. And it's in this Tensas area, the Mississippi Alluvial Basin. It's just going to be some fun deer hunting. But this tract gives you year-round recreation with the nice camp, the 10-acre bass lake, the fact it's got trails all through it. Your kids can ride four-wheelers till the wheels fall off. And it's got this 40-acre field that you can, like I say, have some dove hunts and maintain it for turkeys if you've got the patience to do that. So anyway, be sure to check this out. Either one of these tracts. The whole thing together, hey, I'll sell that to you as well. Or if you want a smaller bite, 400 acres in the big camp or 396 acres and a lot with electricity and the ability to run water from the blacktop down there to the lot. So RecLand.net, Tensas Parish, Louisiana, 408 acres or 396 acres. So anyway, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Appreciate those of you that are watching it by video and the video review. And if you've got any questions, call, text, email. I'm easy to get a hold of. If you miss me, leave a message, but I will get back with you. And if you've got any questions, be glad to answer them and be glad to show you this property when you're ready to look at it. Thanks. Bye.